Hello everyone, welcome back. In this episode of Bitcoin Trade, I'm going to talk a little bit about this particular article here, just because I did mention in some previous episodes how you can use Bitcoin as a financial weapon, and I discussed how there are cyber terrorists and financial terrorists. I think there are, because I've experienced some of them. I looked into it. It's a really good article, but there's a lot of links in there, and I followed some of these links, and I just want to share some of the things I've read. And here's where they got most of the, I guess, information from. And this is another great article, and it leads to, I think, this particular, I don't know what it is, but it's writing of some sorts. And let me zoom in here. Conflict by other means. I've heard of this, but I've never had a chance to read it. I didn't read it yet. And it says The Coming Financial Wars. This is going to be very interesting, and it kind of raises the stake, in my opinion, of what can you do with Bitcoin, which is basically nothing. What can you do with nothing? Seems like you can do a lot with nothing. Kind of weird. But I'm going to read it, and I recommend anybody watching go ahead and read this, because I just read barely the first, front section right here, and I find it already interesting. So, and then basically that's talking about the article as well, and then another underground thing I'm also reading. And then here's I think is that I'm not sure if this is, let me see, Fox, yeah, Fox News. And I read this one, very, very interesting. And then let me see this one, and this is the link that shows all the, I guess, where the actual source comes from. But there's some keyword search, a lot of weird things in there. They do list Bitcoin, there it is, Bitcoin, and then also virtual currency and other stuff, and they mention Android, but it's capitalized like Android. I'm not sure if they're talking about Android like your phone Android, or an actual Android like a walking, talking cyborg kind of robot. I don't know what the difference between an Android and cyborg is, but I don't know. But it's kind of really interesting to read some of this stuff, and I guess they're kind of catching up a little bit, or doing some prevention. Cost of prevention is way better than, I guess, trying to cure whatever they're trying to cure. Let me see, here it is, virtual currencies, virtual detectors, virtual environments, virtual reality, stuff like that. Just interesting. It kind of gives you an idea what are they trying to figure out, or what they're trying to do. I was just doing it out of curiosity, because I did talk about it in my previous episodes and all that good stuff, and I've heard about it too, but there you go. But I want to go back to this article here, and I do believe that Bitcoin is a financial weapon, and it's good to see that there's some people who are serious about, how it can affect how things are being done right now. Other means, how do you, God, it's such a good way of how it's said. Conflict by other means, yeah. Interesting, conflict by other means. And I want to go back to this particular article here. If you read this here's the website, and then here is the author and the title. And I read this, and it's interesting and article, very revealing. And here's my opinion on it, because I have thought about it. As far as terrorist, different kind of terrorist, in my opinion. Not the type that that you would think, like training and jumping on monkey bars, and with a hood or something. These are like cyber terrorists, in my opinion, financial terrorists. So a little different. But what's interesting is not only can terrorists, possibly terrorists, when I say terrorists, I'm talking about cyber terrorists and financial terrorists, use this to do whatever they need to do. But the U.S. government can also do that as well. They can do covert operations with Bitcoin, and that way you can keep your hands clean, and it's not traceable to you. Kinda, better than cash, because you just send it out anywhere around the world, and voila, it gets there, and then whatever. So it's a two-way street, and because it's a two-way street, you can do mutual annihilation. It's kind of like having what I would call nuclear self-destruction. Like one goes, the other goes, we all go. And it kind of, believe it or not, keeps everybody in check, in my opinion. But you could do your little covert operations with this and fund it that way. Just an idea. So that could be another reason why they're looking into it, because if they seen, and this is why I have this particular article up, is because if they seen what these guys can do with it, they're not even organized, right? They're just, it's just kind of just spontaneous. It just, something happens, word goes around, and then voila, it's happening. And I guess to some degree, maybe law authorities having difficulty with it. Well, imagine if you can, now going back to this, there's some situations, I guess, you're just going to go into conflict. And in my opinion, just like how I view Bitcoin as a way to be sustainable, right? I talk about that being sustainable as in you can buy and sell Bitcoin to the moon, to infinity, and make money without, cutting down a tree or digging into the earth to make some kind of product and trying to sell that product to make some money. Leave it to making some real stuff. How I feel about war and Bitcoin is that you can do a financial war and never really go into a real war. And I guess that's better than going into a real war by doing a financial war. I guess that's better. So that's kind of my point is you can do a virtual war. Okay, you can do a virtual currency war and nobody gets hurt. You're just kind of weakening, you're shifting the power a little bit to the left, and then you're doing a little bit of your virtual currency war or virtual war, and it shifts, the power shifts a little bit to the right, but nobody gets killed. Hopefully nobody gets killed. No innocent people get killed. So in that way, it's a different kind of new world where we're doing a virtual war instead of a real war. I think that's the best way to put it. The other thing is, as a quote unquote covert operation, you can use Bitcoin as a psychological operation. and that it's possible, I would think it's possible, that you can take over a country without ever shooting one bullet, without killing anybody, without blowing up any buildings, literally, and on top of that, not even putting one foot on a foreign soil. You can literally take over a country with bitcoins. I think that it's plausible. I view it like you're putting money or value, you're transferring value into another currency, where you basically, to the point where you don't have to go invade another country, because they're going to welcome you with open arms. And man, that is a perfect psychological operation. You're literally changing the minds of people, and of all the weird things that go on. I would say psychological operation is probably by far the thing I'm more interested in, because it's just the changing of people's mind, a warfare of changing other people's mind, where you can convince them to come to your side, and you don't have to kill anybody. You don't have to put one foot on a foreign soil to do that. And that's why I'm really interested in that kind of operation. So that's my 2 cents worth, 2 Satoshis worth of opinion. It just grabs my attention because I did talk about, financial terrorists and cyber terrorists, and they're real, they're out there. But they're not, when you see terrorist, you kind of think of, the crazy guy with the vest. Well, these are different. They're different. They don't do that. They do it a different way, financially. So, just want to bring that up. I thought that was worth noting, because if the government's going to get into it, this is how they might think about getting into it. I mean, Bitcoin, right? Is through those. God, that's such a good way of saying it. Conflict by other means. In some ways, you can actually put in there conflict by other non-violent means. So, I'm all for that. You can be conflictive by a non-violent means. So, anyways, let's go on to a chart and let's see what happens. Oh, let me see. I think there was another article I wanted to go over. Let's see if. Okay. Well. Oh, anyways, never mind. So let's go to Bitstamp. Okay, here you go, Bitstamp, and 6 hour, and it's slowly following this trend right here, and amazingly, it's stopped right about here, and back to around 420. Okay, so I mean that's just kind of what it is. All right, there's no hidden message here. That is just where it stopped, and that's where also the support line is. If it bounces up and breaks out, or hits up again here, I would expect that, or if it breaks down further, look for more downward trend. Somewhere around here being the next support. But there could be a good chance that it could break up again, because it's already hit up this high. It could just break up and go back up again, or slowly go back up, and it really needs to break out of this. And so if I back up, now this is 6 hour, maybe back up to a 12, that's what you're seeing here. So that's Bitstamp, and we can go to BitC. A little different, almost the same. And there's rest. Now it's really showing that it's below, but that's just the way the lines are set up. If I put another if I was to put another line, it'd be right about here-ish. Looks like that's more like a supporting line like this. Almost the same, but this is a little different because this is the top of this downtrend. If it does, these two lines here are narrowing on bit C, and so at some point this line's gonna intersect with this, and depending on where this price is, it's gonna get closer. It'll probably get closer more before it gets further. But BTC may be the first sign to tell you when it's breaking out of this long downtrend and possible breakout of if it breaks out of this. Or depending, I'm just speculating on this. This is just pure speculation. The other thing you can do is it could break out, hit this, fall back down again. That's another option. Of course, you can always go down further. So, but that's just my speculation. And it doesn't hurt to speculate because then you can put your stops and your limits and your stop limits and stop limit stops, whatever you're doing. Market order gives you a kind of good strategy. And then here's Bitfin. And let's go out to a 12-hour to back up a little bit. And this is the actual top line on Bitfin. So it's already showing a breakout here, and now it just seems like it's ranging. And this seems to be getting closer. So there's some bouncing and some pressure going to be built up, and we'll see if it bounces, if it breaks up or breaks down. And depending how you want to play it, you going for the money or you going for the Bitcoins. I'm more going for the Bitcoins, so let me see, is this Bitfin? Yeah, on Bitfin you can put stop buy orders and of course your limits. And so if I'm lucky and I got that one up here at a certain price and it breaks out of that, great. If I'm wrong and it never hits this, it just falls, just getting it at a cheaper price, hopefully. Especially if you're averaging your cost, just put a little bit as it goes down, and then it averages out. Or it could just hit up and then hit down. So again, then you'd be averaging out. Is what you're really doing. So there you go. And then last but not least, Coinbase. The best thing I can do is it's already at 12 hours, so same scenario in my opinion. As it almost looks like it's very similar to let's see right there. See, that's Bitfin, and if you look at Coinbase, it's almost the same. Just a slight difference in a line, but pretty much reacting the same, and it'll probably do the same, in my opinion, on this, just looking at it. So, and then I'll go through some other charts. Let me see here. Okay, so this is the hourly weighted average on Bitfin. Let's update it. And this looks like it's just squirming around, trying to go back up. And let's take a look at Bitstamp. And squirming around. No clear signals. It's trending down and looks like barely turning over now. And then there's BitC. Looks like it's barely turning over, but looks like what it's been doing is just it turns over and then goes back down on a downtrend. It'll turn over, then maybe go back on a downtrend. So I could tell you, when you look at this last one here, you just realize, well, were going down. So remember, if you make it real simple, when you see all this, when you see all this red, it's going down. But again, this is just, it's unfortunately it's a lagging indicator. It just tells you right now it is down by the time it turns over. But if you want, you can kind of take a look at this small little chart here and realize it's just dipped down lower than the 30-day average. Depends on which exchange you're at, how much lower or how much higher. But the top three in US dollars, they're right underneath. And it looks like if you look at this, you can see that it's been trying to push up against the 30-day average. And who knows, it might. And I think if it does, you'll start seeing really some good momentum. Just because I guess it just flows that way. It goes up, and then the average follows it, and then when it goes down, it's red. The average follows it going down, and then when it goes back above it and breaks out, the average will follow it. So it's just a flow of how it goes, up and down. So just looking at that, there could be a chance that it could break out, and then it would be all green. Of course, if it doesn't and it just drops below that, it'd be all red. Anyways, I think that's it. And I do have a short update on the issue with localbitcoins.com. They got some different things going on as far as checking the transfer of your bitcoins, which I thought was pretty interesting. When it restarted, when they got it, and they did get it back up in about 24 hours, I was amazed. It was kind of functioning, not really, and then it got better and better, but I was sending bitcoins to local bitcoins, and on blockchain it showed like way confirmed, and it started being, because it's an exchange, you load it and then the bitcoins will be taken out. Of course, it just circulates through the exchange. Well, when I logged in, the two bitcoins, well, the two transfers I made were still showing with zero confirmation, and I got kind of worried, but emailed support and sent them some screenshots, and then I waited another 24 hours and it actually came through eventually. So I didn't lose anything, and I guess it's true what they said, no bitcoins were stolen. At first I thought they might have been, because it was showing zero confirmations on local bitcoins, but on blockchain obviously it went through. But eventually, I guess the update or whatever they did, finally everything synced up, and so yeah, I didn't lose any bitcoins. And I hope people have texted me that they lost bitcoins, but I'm not sure if they lost bitcoins now. I haven't really followed up on it, but maybe I'll check in one of the blogs. But anyways, that's just a small little update on that. This is the end of the video here. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.